Limitless Sports with the BD team, coming up next.
Welcome back to Limitless Sports. It's been a huge downtime where I've been spending a lot of time doing a lot of things, and we'll talk about that. And Brett and I are happy to be back in studio today.
Guess who's back? Back again.
So,
back.
If you remember back from our porch story before, I took on a new role in California this spring as the athletic director, and it's been a great time. But I am, as of November, stepping down from the role and getting back into the coaching realm. So I'll be down in Peters Township this spring coaching some softball. We're excited to get started actually Tuesday. I'm going to get the team together and get a little working. But
is this like an introduction thing? You're going to introduce yourself to the team and tell them what you're about and everything?
So I got, it's hard because there's so many facilities there, but I have facility time, thankfully. So I have our auxiliary gym Tuesday this week and Tuesday next week. So I'm good going. But it's time to get back and talk about some sports, huh?
Yes, it is.
So
football season. We're mid-season already almost.
Mid-season in college football. It's a great setup we got this week going on with a lot of great games. You want to just go ahead and run down the list?
Today's slate of impact games, a lot of these games have college football playoff implications. And there's about a half a dozen or so. We're going to start off with the big noon kickoff today. You have number 10 Penn State traveling to number 5 Michigan. My brother's actually at this game right now.
Did he go? That's awesome.
He just got married a couple weeks ago. He's spending his honeymoon up in Michigan. And they're going to the game today, coming home late tonight.
That's awesome, man.
It is awesome. That's on noon on Fox. How about number 3 Alabama going to number 6 Tennessee at 3:30?
That's just a big game.
This is defining seasons. The last 2 games I just named, the Penn State Michigan game and this game, are defining seasons. Because if Alabama loses, they're on the outside looking in of going to the SEC championship game, and Tennessee has the nod over them.
Right. Wait, I thought Tennessee's in the East.
I think they play with Alabama now.
You sure?
I think so. 99% sure. I think Georgia's in the East.
Georgia's in the East, but I thought... No, Tennessee's in the East.
Oh, Tennessee's in the East?
This just matters for the playoff implications, basically. Alabama loses this game, they're going to struggle to get in the playoff.
Oh, I mean, absolutely, because they still have to play LSU, and, I mean...
Did you play Ole Miss yet?
Not yet.
No, that's another big game coming.
And then at 3:30, again... We have, I believe it's number 8 Oklahoma State going to number 13 TCU. I forgot to write this game down actually on our slate.
Yep,
you're right. This is who's going to win the Big 12. This is who's more than likely going to win the Big 12.
What are you talking about? Kansas, man. Come on.
No.
I'm glad that Kansas at least is back to winning some games, though. Absolutely.
And then how about again at 3:30, you have NC State going to number 18 Syracuse. 15 v 18. I mean, that's who might play in the SEC, or the SEC, the ACC championship game.
You know, I had a cool story about NC State. So when I went to this summer, I went and coached down in North Carolina.
Yes.
The Pirates World Series thing, right? So I was on the plane, and I'm looking at this guy's name because I forget it right now. And I'm sitting there, I'm talking to this gentleman next to me, and I'm like, he's pretty nice, you know. He's like, yeah, I'm going out to the Pirate game today from North Carolina. I'm like, okay, why are you going out to the Pirate game? Well, his son is Bryce Wilson for the Pirates, who's a pitcher, starting pitcher. And he was talking to me about how his journey with going in and like playing travel ball, and he's like, well, I have another son. He's in college right now. I'm like, oh, where does he go to college? He's like, NC State. I'm like, what's he play? He's like, linebacker. So it's Peyton Wilson, he's a junior. I guess he was supposed to get drafted last year. He got hurt.
Came back.
He was telling me about his all of his official visits.
Yes.
And it was cool because he actually officially visited Ohio State my senior year while I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did 5. It was NC State, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Alabama. He hated Notre Dame. Something I forget about. I think it's just about the whole, there's nothing around it. You know, it's hard to fly into and different things. NC State's his hometown, so it was hard to pass it up. He liked Ohio State. Didn't really like a relationship that he had with Nick Saban. And then ended up there, so it's kind of cool.
That's a good story to share with the masses, Dave. And then how about number 16 Mississippi State at number 22 Kentucky on 7:30 on the SEC Network? I mean, Mississippi State only has one loss. They're still right around the top 15.
I'm surprised that game is on SEC Network, though. Like, don't you think it would be on a bigger network?
You do, but look at all the other networks, other games that are on, because at 8, you have number 7 USC at number 20 Utah on Fox.
Yeah, but what's on ABC? It's 8 tonight.
7:30, the 7:30 game.
Clemson against
again,
Florida State, yeah.
3 weeks in a row, Clemson has been on 7:30 on ABC. They need to give up on Clemson this year. They're good. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're not what they used to. They're not world beaters.
You guys change the topic real quick. Do you for Penn State next week? What time do you play that game? Is it the mid?
7:30.
Okay, so you have 7:30 slot.
7:30. I will be there next weekend.
So that means we have the big noon kickoff. Yeah, I hate that.
Against who?
Iowa. I hate that. Anyway, so a lot of great games today.
There's other notable ones, but we'll get through those later.
I'm gonna try to follow along a little bit. I'm back on the coaching field today, 3:30, 6:30, and 8. So I'm gonna be watching Alabama, Tennessee on my phone a little bit because that's gonna be a huge game.
Yes, that is a huge game.
Okay, so we're gonna go through now and we're gonna pick our mid-season CFP and New Year's Six bowl games. Let's work backwards. So let's start with the CFP, and then we'll come back to the bowl games.
All right, you want to do the Fiesta Bowl first?
So what I would like to do is I want you to rank your 4, because it's hard to predict like which one they're going to go to, right?
Are we going like right now? Who we think is just going to be playing in these games?
Yeah. So I'm saying like what is your, if this is the end of the season right now, who's your number 1 team?
My number 1 team right now, unfortunately, it'd probably be Ohio State. It would probably be Ohio State as of right now.
Because I don't see Georgia and Alabama coming out of this undefeated. I think someone's going to drop a game to somebody here and there, and they're going to split.
I think Georgia will be the eventual undefeated SEC champ.
You think?
I do.
So why do you have Ohio State ahead of them? Just
strength the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about this for a minute. Michigan beats Penn State today. Penn State beats Ohio State. Ohio State beats Michigan.
I don't still see
1-1-1.
I still don't see Ohio State as number 1 then. I think the only way Ohio State gets number 1 is to go in the
Here's the thing, though. And let's just say all those games are a touchdown or less. How the hell do you say no to all those teams? How?
That's why we're going to the 12-team playoff eventually. All right, so what's your number 2?
My number 2, it would be Georgia.
Okay.
It would be your number 2.
I want your 4, then I'll give you my 4.
3, I'd have USC.
Okay.
I think they're going to go right through the Pac-12.
Okay.
And 4, I have Oklahoma State. I think they're going to go undefeated. I do. I think all 4 playoff teams will be undefeated this year. Just something in my gut is telling me this is like everyone always, like me and you always say, like even though your alma mater is always in it, you always want change. You want to see something new. You want to see the Big 12 offense versus the SEC defense. You want to see the Big 10 defense versus the Pac-12 offense. Mm-hmm. And I think this is the year you're finally going to get it. Because I think there's probably about 20 teams right now who are still making a push for those playoffs. You still have Ole Miss. They're undefeated still. You still have, your usuals, the Bama, the Georgias, the Ohio States. I mean, Clemson's still technically in it. They haven't lost yet, obviously. But I think Clemson will suffer a loss, or their resume is just not going to stack up.
Yeah. Here's what I have. I have Ohio State at 1.
Mm-hmm.
I have USC at 2.
Okay.
Unfortunately, or not, no, sorry. Number 3 is my wild card. I think we're going to the Rocky Top.
You think Tennessee's going?
I see Tennessee winning today. I do. I mean, Hendon Hooker's playing lights out. Alabama's not...
Okay, but we just talked. Tennessee's in the East. They'd still have to beat Georgia.
Correct. I think they can do it. I'm not fully sold on Georgia yet.
I'm not either, but I'm pretty sure that game's at Georgia.
It is at Georgia.
And
but defensively, I'm not sold on them. They're not playing defensively like they did last year.
No, they lost 3/4 of that team. Let's get that out of the way.
Exactly. So I see Tennessee sneaking in at 3. It feels like 1998 again, right, with Peyton Manning. I feel it. And
I mean, with Hooker and that offense is humming.
they're humming, and
You know
I just
what?
don't think
to
they're getting
beat
stopped.
Tennessee, Alabama today is going to need to win this game up front in the trenches.
Which it's
get
possible.
pressure
That's
on Hooker,
that's Alabama style.
and that's how Alabama likes to play. But I mean, if Bryce Young doesn't play today, I think Tennessee has this game in the bag. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Correct.
I think maybe 10-point win, 7-point win.
And I don't think he's either. If he plays, he's not 100% healthy.
And if he plays today, I think this is going to be a shootout. Whoever has the ball last, first to 40, wins.
So that's my number 3. And then I agree with you. I have Oklahoma State at number 4. What was very hard, I think the toss-up's going to be between Oklahoma State and Clemson. I don't see Clemson losing a game.
The only one I think they could lose, I think they go to South Bend. And it's either at the end of this month or
they go
sometime in November.
It's the 1st of November.
The 1st of November, okay. So they have to go to South Bend. I mean, we're talking about a team that's used to playing at 82 degrees consistently. Going to South Bend.
I agree, but they're
2
not that
weeks
good.
before Thanksgiving.
No, it's
3 weeks before Thanksgiving.
yeah.
So I mean,
But I also could see them
and
dropping
Notre Dame,
tonight.
since dropping those first 2 games,
They've gotten better.
losing a close one to Ohio State. I mean, I think if they beat Ohio State, we're talking about a Notre Dame team that's probably favored to win the national championship.
100% because it's a mental game.
Yes.
They ride that high. Yeah, I don't know. You look at Clemson's schedule. I can see them maybe dropping a game tonight.
Yeah, they're playing Florida State, and Florida State's pretty much back on track.
They're not going to lose to Syracuse at home.
No.
So they don't play anybody. It's just a question mark is...
I mean, they barely beat Wake. I mean, Wake's an okay team. And they were ranked for a long time. They might still be, I'm not sure. I don't have the top 25 list in front of me right now. You do.
Yeah, they're ranked 14th.
Wake is 14th?
Mm-hmm.
I think they have 1 loss, and it's to Clemson.
Yep. Yeah, so it's hard for me.
Clemson needs Wake to keep winning.
Correct.
And they need to beat Syracuse and Notre Dame and have those 2 teams need to keep winning too.
Yeah, so Clemson is I don't know. It's a toss-up between
Plus
Clemson and
probably
Oklahoma
play
State.
whoever they're going to play in the ACC championship. If it's, I don't know what side Syracuse is on there, Syracuse or Pitt or whoever they're going to play.
Yeah. So here's where I think it ends up though. So if you get Ohio State and Oklahoma State at 1 and 4, and USC and Tennessee at 2 and 3, I think the storylines there, and you know how college football playoff loves the storyline. You got Oklahoma State's former defensive coordinator coaching Ohio State.
Yes.
It screams that matchup's going to happen somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I still think Ohio State beats the crap out of them.
Well, I have Ohio State and Oklahoma State playing in the Peach Bowl because if you're one,
right.
you pick your location where you're.
Correct.
And Georgia's a hell of a lot closer than Glendale.
100%. But what's weird is some reason Ohio State loves going to Glendale.
I think they're playing on natural grass out there,
Yeah.
and it's more safe for your players than turf.
So I have Ohio State winning. I have USC winning, matching up in the final. And here's where I'll say I don't know what the final is going to be. Is Ohio State's offense at full strength? If they're at full strength, no one's beating them. And I'm talking, you have Jackson Smith and Jigba at full strength and both running backs at full strength. We haven't had a game yet this season where everybody's playing. And that's what's scary. It's hard to bank on that. I think if one person or 2 people are hurt, USC's winning that game.
And I'm not an Ohio State fan. I like C.J. Stroud. I like Jackson Higbee-Jigba. And I think if Higbee-Jigba gets nicked up again, and I don't think he cares, he's going to sit. He knows he's the best receiver in the nation.
Correct.
He's going to say, you know what?
Yep.
I've had enough. I was the MVP of the Rose Bowl last year. I probably had the best game in Rose Bowl. Going to be the best game in Rose Bowl history.
He's supposed to come back next week. They're saying he's supposed to play. We'll see. The sad thing is, we need him.
But my natty is the same as yours. It's Ohio State versus USC.
Who do you have winning, though?
I didn't highlight a winner. I still think I'm a little too early to predict.
It's hard.
I'd probably say this game's the first of 40 wins. But here's also the thing: USC forcing all the turnovers.
USC's got a huge
scary.
game. I didn't realize USC's not favored to win tonight.
No, they're minus
3.5. Utah's
at Utah, and Utah is a tough place to play. So they still have to play UCLA and everything. and that'll get them good. Get them on track still. They have to play Oregon still. I'm pretty sure.
And I don't see them getting in
because
though.
we don't have. No one's even talking about UCLA.
No.
And you know what? This is a different kind of team Chip Kelly has right now.
Correct.
In UCLA.
No, I have UCLA in my final picks.
I actually don't and I actually don't have the Big Ten runner-up in my final picks. I don't
either.
I mean...
Let's get into those. Okay, so let's start with the Rose Bowl. What's your matchup in the Rose Bowl?
I have Michigan versus Oregon.
Oregon?
Oregon's in the opposite division.
I thought they got rid of divisions for Pac-12.
Yes, they do. I look. You can Google it right now.
They still have them?
I'm 99%.
I just thought they got rid of them for the playoff or for the championships aspect.
I don't know if that's starting next year or... Because I have Michigan versus Oregon. Because figure Oregon it's going to be 10-3 in that game. Going into that game at 10-3, they'll probably drop one more, drop that title game.
Starting in 2022, the two teams with the highest conference winning percentage will face off in the championship game.
So then I'm probably going to change that Oregon to UCLA now. I will.
You mean Michigan UCLA?
Yes, it'll be Michigan versus UCLA.
Okay, so we're close.
So I
have UCLA, and I have Penn State. I have this sneaky suspicion, and this is not even my bias. I've been watching a lot of the Michigan games here and there. They're not a number 4 ranked team in the country. I could see you guys going in because you've already played on the road once. You've played in a hostile environment already.
A couple times, twice.
What's the second one?
We played Purdue Thursday night to open up the season.
Yeah,
Came back to win.
I'll give you that one.
Everyone knows. I mean, you're a Big Ten guy. Purdue at night is one of the hardest places to play. And then you go down to SEC country, and I don't care who you beat. If it's Missouri, Alabama, Georgia,
still impressive.
You went down there and you smashed Auburn right in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You ran the football down their throat, and you beat them.
Yeah. So I have Penn State and UCLA in the Rose Bowl. I think Penn State goes in and wins today. Ohio State will beat them on the road. It'll be close. I think it won't be as close as if it was a night game. The fact that it's going to be a big noon kickoff.
It's going to be a big noon kickoff is what I heard. How true that is, who knows?
That's going to hurt for you guys, but that's what I got it at. All right, what's your next one? What's the next one?
So our Sugar Bowl, I have TCU, because I think they're going to be the runner-up from the Big 12 championship, playing Alabama. Interesting matchup. Gary Patterson finally leaves. Team's back on track like that.
I think it's I had TCU in Georgia because I don't have Georgia in there.
Mm-hmm.
I see Georgia having the one loss.
Yes.
But the issue is, yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Why did I pick this? Because I see Alabama losing twice to Tennessee. Because Alabama will come out.
So you think Tennessee's going undefeated?
Yes. That's what I had today.
So I have Alabama losing to Tennessee.
And then you have them playing the championship.
And then losing again.
To
Georgia.
All right, so what do you got in the Orange Bowl?
The Orange Bowl, I have my boys, Penn State versus Clemson. I think Clemson's going to get a loss. Hell, maybe even 2 losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see a 10-2 Penn State team match up against an 11-1 Clemson team.
So I actually had Clemson, but I had Michigan in there.
You have Michigan, so we just have ours flip-flopped.
Yeah. I still think Michigan, they'll get in with 2 losses in the big in that in the New York Six. I don't see them not. So what's your last one?
So the Cotton Bowl is.
This was hard for me to pick.
It's so hard because you have to include a group of 5, which is ridiculous.
And it's sad because the group of 5 you want to include, you're not allowed to.
Who are you including?
You're not allowed to include James Madison. They're undefeated. They're 25. That's the year.
I have Tennessee versus Cincinnati, but I really wanted to put Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, but they're not ranked though. Right now.
Coastal Carolina. Yeah, but they go undefeated. I
can see
and
that.
Cincy with that 1 loss.
Yeah. I had Alabama sneaking in with 2 losses.
Playing in the Cotton Bowl.
Versus Cincinnati.
Rematch of last year's, what was that?
Playoff game.
Yeah, what bowl game? Was it the Cotton Bowl?
Was it?
I think it was the Cotton Bowl. Now we got to look this up, Dave. I have to entertain the masses here. I can't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Cotton Bowl.
It was. They won't do that. So I don't know. I mean, that's what's hard. Is the Cotton Bowl guaranteed to be the
It'll be
Big Six?
I mean, yeah. It's usually
Group
the
five.
Cotton Bowl, the Peach Bowl, or the Fiesta Bowl. It's one of those three.
Yeah, I know.
It was the Rose Bowl is always Big Ten versus Pac-12,
Right,
unless
right.
it's a playoff game.
Until
The Sugar Bowl is
a couple
always
years.
Big 12 versus SEC. The Orange Bowl is always ACC versus Big Ten versus SEC or Notre Dame.
Right.
And then the Cotton Bowl is just two at-larges usually.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that'll happen though. I could see Alabama not getting in then. Just because
They're
of that.
going to get a New Year's Six game. I mean, do you remember the last time they didn't get a New Year's Six game?
Yeah, it was AJ McCarron was on the team.
No, they played Michigan in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, but AJ McCarron was quarterback.
Still?
I think so. Well, is that the year they went like 10-2?
Yeah. I remember I bought my house that year. I remember watching that on New Year's Day. But
All right. I know.
I'm still like, what happens if all these teams from the Big Ten go 11-1? Because there's a really good chance that's going to happen.
So who do you have Ohio State losing to? Penn State.
Michigan beats Penn State today.
Okay.
Penn State beats Ohio State in 2 weeks.
Mm.
Ohio State beats Michigan.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's hard for me to sit there and
Because if
say
Ohio
that
State's going to lose a game, it's going to be at Penn State.
correct.
Maybe
It's
that's
not going to
the
be
only-
anywhere else. You're right. I don't know. I also don't see Michigan. Even if they win today, I don't see them winning out.
Because it's like once every 6 years, Penn State gets Ohio State and beats them when they're like poised like
I
they're
just
the
don't think-
clear-cut favorite.
I don't think you guys have the
And it's
team.
been 6 years.
The only person I could see really making an impact would be Joey Porter Jr.
And I'm not even a big fan of him. I don't think he's that good.
No. But you look at Michigan's schedule too. I mean, they play Michigan State next week. They'll beat the crap out of, or I'm sorry, they're off, and then they play Michigan State. They'll beat the crap out of them. They go on the road to Rutgers. They play Nebraska at home, and they play Illinois at home. I could see them losing to Illinois at the end of the season.
That's right before you guys.
They look past
That
it.
could be a trap game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 2 weeks ago for Penn State, that Northwestern game was potentially a trap game, but then you have the bye week in there. And, I mean, it was coming down in buckets.
Right. Yeah,
it was
that's
just raining so hard.
all right. So we're going to talk about underachievers and overachievers. I'm gonna give you my over.
Okay.
Tennessee.
No. I think a lot of people at the beginning of the season thought they'd be good.
I didn't have them this good though. I had them like 9-3.
I thought a lot of people think they'd be like 10-2, 11-1-ish. My two overachievers, Kansas and Syracuse. Your
Kansas
two
too.
basketball schools.
Yeah.
Stick to your sport, but still. And then underachiever, Notre Dame. I'm sorry.
Yep.
You paid Marshall to come to your house.
Yep.
And they came in there and smashed you in the mouth.
Yep. Well, I had two underachievers. Notre Dame,
Who else do you have?
Oklahoma. I expected more.
I wanted to put Oklahoma, but I started taking to the fact that 3/4 of that roster got turned over.
I agree.
Half those guys went to USC with Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams.
I expected more. I didn't expect as bad as they are right now. I don't know. I mean, for goodness sake, they're 3-3. They lost 49-0 to Texas.
Texas is back though.
What if Texas, Quinn Ewers doesn't get hurt against Alabama? I think Alabama.
Then there are like a handful of plays away from being undefeated.
I agree.
Probably about 5 plays away from being undefeated. Then.
I agree. All right, so we're gonna jump into what are we gonna do next? NIL, right?
Yeah, there was something interesting that was released about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to talk about this. So Nick Saban and Alabama University say they won't release details of how much NIL money it is spent on how much NIL money is spent. They won't release the details of it.
That's typical Alabama.
Here's the thing. And I expect this from a lot of bigger schools, the Alabamas, the Ohio States, the Oklahomas, because those are the schools that have the money. They have the big alumni association. I mean, we have a handful in the Big Ten. We have Michigan, Penn State, obviously. Clemson has a lot of money to spend now because they're on the map. I think because they're still trying to figure out all this NIL stuff and they're trying to make rules and regulations for it and trying to put a cap on it of some sort. Otherwise, we're going to be in a serious
it's gonna get ugly.
state where it's the same 10 teams every year. Like, this is your group that's competing for the national championship.
Yep.
So, I think it should be like taxes. At the end of every year, they should have to submit a form saying this is how much we spent. Break it down. Football, basketball, soccer, softball, field hockey, whatever.
I'm not against that at all. I don't know if you're going to be able to, quote unquote, cap it. I don't think that can happen. The only kind of cap I can see them doing is like, this is the amount of money you can spend on a player.
Mm-hmm.
Cap the individual aspect. I don't think you can cap how much a team spends. Because how's it fair? Now you're going to get into the whole baseball thing, right? So like, how can you make those even? How can you make New York City even with Pittsburgh?
How can you make Alabama even with
Kentucky?
Kentucky,
that's what I'm saying. I don't think you can make it even on a team aspect. I think you can say, okay, you're only allowed to spend $4 million on a player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Per year.
Because, we have some of these guys that are driving around, Range Rovers and Jaguars because they're sponsored through them. They're driving around, a $500,000 car.
Right. I agree.
So you want to give me the sheet and we'll do quick picks real quick?
Yeah, we can do quick picks. That's fine.
We'll do college quick picks and then we'll jump into the NFL.
What do you want? You're doing college?
Yeah, we'll do the college ones first because we're wrapping up with the college segment. So, big noon kickoff today. Penn State at Michigan. This game's basically going to determine who's the top challenger to the Buckeyes.
Yep. I got Penn State by 3.
Dave's going Penn State. I'm actually going to go Michigan here.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. That takes a lot.
There's just something about that I don't trust James Franklin for big games. I
don't either, but when you look at what they did to Maryland and what they did to, for God's sakes, they almost lost to Iowa.
I'm gonna go Michigan. Okay. Also on at noon, you have Auburn at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is number 9 in the nation. Ole Miss is favored by 15.
Ole Miss covers. At home, they're covering.
Ole Miss to win. Ole Miss to cover. Kansas at Oklahoma.
Oh my God! I'm gonna slam this bet home. 9-point favorite Oklahoma is.
On this paper, I printed this off on Tuesday. It's 7.5. So to jump an extra, point and a half, 2 points.
2. That's insane.
I'm going Kansas.
Sorry to all our listeners out there. I'm betting right now. Go ahead.
Kansas. You go Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas.
Another Big 12 matchup. Interesting matchup. Iowa State at Texas. Texas is a 16.5-point favorite off my paper.
Yeah, I don't think they cover. Texas wins, though.
I don't think they're going to cover. I think they're coming off a pretty big emotional win from last week. I'm going to go Texas in the close one.
My question is, so for your sake, Penn State's a 7-point underdog. You think they cover? Or do you have Michigan? I think it's close. I think it's like a 3-point game.
I'm going to say it's going to be a 7 to 3-point game.
But I also
someone's going to miss a PAT making an oddball number or, 5.
What's crazy is I don't know about the over-under. The over-under is a 49. I could see it being under.
I think a lot of people picked it to be under. This is going to be...
It's going to be defensive, just smash mouth football.
It's going to be one in the trenches, run the football down your throat.
I'm taking the under. All right, keep going.
So we have another noon kickoff. This might determine who wins the West in the Big Ten. You have Minnesota at Illinois. Illinois is number 24 in the nation. The line is 6.5 Minnesota, over under 38.
I have Illinois winning the game.
you're going to take Illinois. I'm going to take Illinois as well. I think Brett Bielema finally comes back to the Big Ten last year. They get their signature win over Penn State. I was at that game. What was it? The 13 overtime game or something ridiculous like that. You know, this team has confidence. They're playing with a little bit of swagger. Illinois is back on the map. Give me the line.
As you keep going on this, see if you like this 3-team parlay I'm going to throw out today. Kansas +9.
Okay.
Under 49 for Penn State at Michigan.
Okay.
Tennessee +8.5.
I like that. The only one I worry about, I mean, Penn State Michigan is going to be one of two things. It's going to be one of those typical Big Ten games, 21-14, 21-17.
I know.
Or it's going to be one of those games, first to 40 wins.
I'm going to go. The problem is, you look at, so take the comparison in terms of the big games you played. You blew out Auburn. Yeah, I don't. You're right.
I mean, figure, week 1 they went to Purdue, and Purdue was the opening season favorite to represent the Big Ten West in the championship game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go over 49. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm going to be leaving the studio, and you're going to be like, man, I'm changing that again.
No, I'm going to slam it right now. It's the same amount of money either way.
Starting 3:30 games, Vanderbilt at Georgia. Georgia's a 38.5-point favorite. I'm taking Georgia, but they don't cover.
38-point favorite and a half.
38-point favorite.
Whew. Yeah.
Over under is 58.5.
I could see that. I
don't think Georgia covers, but I think Georgia beats Vandy.
Yeah. Those are always hard spreads.
We'll do the game next on the list last.
Yep.
That'll be our game of the week.
You got Oklahoma State to TCU next? Or did you not get that one? Should be the next one on the list from ESPN. After the one we skipped.
Huh.
It didn't print?
It didn't print off.
All right, so Oklahoma State, TCU. TCU's a 4.5-point favorite today. I actually like Oklahoma State to win and to cover. Well, they would cover because they won, but...
Yeah, I'm going to go Oklahoma State here as well. I don't know why that didn't print off on my list, but it didn't. I think Oklahoma State's the class of the Big 12 right now, and they're going to show it that. And I think TCU right now, they're showing Oklahoma and Texas, they're making a mistake by leaving.
Absolutely.
So at 3:30, one of the impact games we were talking about earlier, North Carolina State at Syracuse. The line is Syracuse -3.5 on my paper.
Sorry, I'm knee deep in my betting aspect. I have another one for you. Enjoy this, then we'll keep going.
So go ahead, Syracuse and NC State.
I take NC State.
You're going to take NC State. I'm actually going to take Syracuse.
For all your betting listeners out there, here's another good one today. Ready? Taking teams to win the games.
Just flat out win.
Flat out win. Listen to how insane this is. You take Penn State +225.
Okay.
Kansas is +280. And Oklahoma State's +165. You know what those odds are? +3,172. If I bet $10, I make $300.
Instant bet.
It's already done. Anyway.
4 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Number 25, James Madison.
I love this.
Goes to play Georgia Southern.
I love this. I'm loving that James Madison's ranked. Go Royal Dukes. Slam it home.
I'm going to take James Madison as well. You know, they can't be included in the group of 5. It's a shame.
So how many years is that? Is it just this year? Is it next year?
Might be 2. Might be 2. 7:30 on ABC Primetime. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler will be calling the game. You have number 4, Clemson, playing Florida State. Clemson's only a 3.5-point favorite here. Florida State's back on track.
It's up to 4.5 now.
It's up to 4.5 now. So
right.
Well, it's still 51.
That's what ESPN has. Let me double check on my book.
This is from ESPN also. I just printed this off one.
7:30, right?
7:30 ABC. 3.5 points I have and 51 on the runner.
So they got 4.5 now and 50.5. So
Florida State back on track a little bit. It's going to take another year or two to get back to what they should be.
I think it's big though that's playing at Florida State.
I'm going Noles.
I am too. I mean, this contradicts my whole like, are they undefeated or not? Right, with Oklahoma State at the end.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not. If I had to pick a team to root for in the ACC, it would be Florida State. But Tomahawk chop, baby.
Right.
Go Noles.
Amen.
7:30 on SEC Network. We have number 16 Mississippi State playing number 22 Kentucky.
What do you got?
I'm gonna go Bulldogs here.
Okay.
I think they're a little bit better than Kentucky
I agree.
on the defensive side of the ball.
What's that coach's name? I'm blanking. It's a big dude, isn't it? Did you coach at Texas Tech?
I thought it was the guy who used to coach at Washington State. Leach?
He coached at Texas Tech before that too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That's it. I like Mississippi State here.
I do too.
I think Will Levis makes a mistake late. Mississippi State goes on to win.
I like Will Levis though.
I do
He's
too.
hard.
Dumbest thing ever, Penn State letting him go.
100%.
Playing Sean Clifford. At 8 on Fox, another top 20 matchup. Number 7 USC taking on number 20 Utah.
So Utah's favored in this game.
The line's still 3.5.
Still 3.5, right?
Is the over/under still 63?
Ooh, that's a questionable. It's 65 now.
It's 65 now.
That's hard. I mean, I could see it going over. That's one of the ones you don't touch.
Oh,
It's just questionable.
I wouldn't touch Pac-12 football at all.
No, Utah has a good defense. What's USC's defense been like this year? Not bad.
They're forcing turnovers. I mean, that's what's winning them some of those games. That Oregon State game they should have lost. Turnovers will.
They're giving up. They're giving up points though. I mean, they gave up 28 to Stanford.
Yeah, but how many they score?
41. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I could see them going over here because they give up. I mean, they gave up 25 to Arizona State. So it's hard to decide. Utah has a good running attack. I think
The Trojans.
Hey, go Trojans!
That's what I'm taking.
Beat the Mighty Mikes and Carmichaels last night. Man, that was a good game. But that's all of our college football picks, right?
We still have the game of the week.
All right.
You're taking the Trojans?
I'll take the Trojans, yeah. Okay, game of the week. So
This is the
Down.
one all eyes will be.
down on old Rocky Top.
At 3:30 on CBS, number 3 Alabama goes to Rocky Top to take on the number 6 Tennessee Volunteers.
So you talk about how Penn State's upset about Will Levis leaving.
Mm-hmm.
How upset do you think Virginia Tech is that Hendon Hooker's left Virginia Tech?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for God's sake, this kid's balling out. Now, was he playing that well there? No. Was Will Levis playing as well at Penn State? No. I mean, and that sometimes happens. You change the environment, you change scenery, you play better.
So a little bit about this game. I think if Alabama wants to stand a chance, they have to beat Tennessee up front. It's all going to start at the line of scrimmage. This is going to be big boy football, and that's how Tennessee wants to play. They want to hold you at the line of scrimmage, and they're making matchups downfield one-on-one with their receivers, and they're going to go up and get it. And that's how they've been playing all year.
So you know what's crazy? You know Hendon Hooker's never thrown an interception this year?
He hasn't?
He has not.
And guess what? I don't think he does today either.
He is 98 for 140, 1,432 yards, 10 scores. He's out playing Bryce Young. Now, he's played more because Bryce has been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is that the offense will go through Hendon today. If he struggles, they're done. But they've been scoring at will lately, so. And the lowest scoring points they've had is against Pitt. And that was in overtime.
Yes.
And they weren't really cooking on all cylinders yet. Who you got?
I'm taking the Vols. If Bryce Young,
Rocky Top.
if Bryce Young plays, this is a shootout kind of game.
I think they just. I'm scrolling through this matchup on ESPN. There's a video that says Feinbaum. Alabama will lose Tennessee if B, and it has a picture of Bryce Young. So I'm assuming he's saying Bryce Young doesn't play. It's over. He's gonna play.
I'm going to take... this is their biggest matchup of the year, pretty much.
You know the line's at 9.
Yes. On my paper here, it was at 7.5, which is telling me it went up last night, and Bryce Young is going to play today. Last night, it was still at 7.5 when I checked.
Yeah, I can see what you mean.
And
I have it at 8.5, which is fine.
And this morning I saw it was 9. Just 9 flat.
It's 9 flat on ESPN right now.
And the over-under is still 65.5?
66 and a half.
66.
Yeah,
So one
they're
hour
saying
point.
Bryce is going to play.
So they're saying Bryce is going to play. I'm saying
I think he
Rocky
plays.
Top, Old Smoky does it.
Hell yeah.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. I
Dave's
think-
taking the Volunteers too.
That 66 and a half is hard. I would take it because Tennessee's defense is not that good.
No, I think they're good.
It's going
They're
to be
good
30.
enough to keep them in games.
I think it's going to be like a 38-35 game.
I think they're good enough to keep them in games.
Correct.
So
All right,
there's
so
our
let's-
college picks.
Let's jump into the NFL here, huh?
You were talking earlier this week. You wanted to talk about the concussion protocol.
Okay, so I'm 100% for safety of players.
Yes, I am too.
I don't know how you fix it.
I don't know if there's a way that you can. Concussions have always been a part of the game. They always will be a part of the game.
The whole Tua thing frustrates me for his sake. But now I'm concerned of any small thing they're going to pull a player out of the game. And that's the frustration aspect for me.
Yeah, I mean, and I get like a guy gets up and he's a little wobbly, like, hey, like you got to come off.
Right.
But they want to make it so if you're a little bit wobbly and you come off, you're not going back in.
Now, did you know, you didn't know this because it just happened. So Tua cleared concussion protocol this morning. He's still not going to play tomorrow. So he's going to play when we go down there and play on Sunday Night Football.
So Miami's going to torch the Steelers. Okay.
Yeah.
But no,
Where's that on our list to talk about?
the state of the Steelers is
to
one
the
of
end.
our last
Okay,
things.
we'll hold off on that.
One of our last things.
What are some impressive things you've seen this year already?
From
Yeah,
or just
from-
in general.
General.
Well, I think it's really impressive how everyone's mediocre and not like there's a handful of good teams, like maybe like 6-7 good teams.
Yeah.
And everybody else is middle of the pack.
I agree. You know
I mean, you have a lot of 3-2 teams, a lot of 2 and 3s.
You know what's crazy? The Giants, 4-1.
You know what? If
Brian
you look,
Boley, nice coach.
they could be last year's Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't see
And
him
the
that good.
more I'm watching Cincinnati, the more I'm learning I'm right from last year. They played a 4th place schedule. They caught lightning in a bottle at the right time, and they ran with it.
I agree.
This year, it's a totally different story. They don't look like world beaters everyone thought they were going to be. Hell, they might not even make playoffs.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's a questionable thing. I mean, they've got some. I'm looking at the Giants schedule right now. They played the Ravens this week. No. Yeah, they played them tomorrow. Then they play the Jaguars. They play the Seahawks. They play the Texans. They play the Lions. I mean, there's 4 wins right there. So even if they drop to the Ravens this week,
So what? That's
8-2.
yeah.
No, they may drop one of those games. So then you go to the bottom half of the schedule, 8-2. Then you got Cowboys
That's Thanksgiving.
on Thanksgiving. Commanders win. So
Mhm.
now you're just ranks get like looking record by record, 9-3. Eagles lost, 9-4. Commanders again, 10-4. Vikings,
That's 50-50.
50-50, say 10-5. Colts win, 11-5. They play They play the Eagles at the end, 11-6 in the playoffs. But you know why? Because your boy's running really well.
You know what?
He's healthy.
I heard they might trade him.
Yeah, but not now.
I don't.
They're
I
not
don't
trading
know.
him now. That-
If
I
they
think
drop another game or 2 in these next couple of weeks, and the trade deadline's coming up,
If they're 500, they got to drop 3 games. If they're still above 500 and they have a chance to get to the playoffs, they're not dropped. I could understood if the record was flipped right now. They're 1-4. They're trading him. They're not trading him right now. So, I mean, yeah, they're surprising for me. I agree with you about the whole mediocrity. It's very even right now.
I mean, if you look at some teams, like if you look at like Tampa Bay right now, they're playing with nobody.
Right.
I mean, they're just getting some guys back. If they get some guys back here in the next few weeks between Halloween and Thanksgiving, they're going to start doing some damage.
And that's where, if we had a full-strength team this week for the Steelers, I could keep that game close. We're not keeping it close, though.
No.
Because we have,
After
like,
the injury report from last night,
Yeah.
saying who's playing, who's not playing.
so you were saying your top, you'd say 6 teams, right? 6,
I'd say
7?
there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say there's about 6 teams right now that I'm putting up here
Okay.
that I think that are the 6 most likely teams to play in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to give you mine. Let's see if we can compare.
Okay.
Buffalo,
Yes.
Kansas City.
Yes.
That's it from the AFC.
No, I have one more.
Who?
I have Baltimore. I still have Baltimore.
I'm not fully sold on them here. I think they're right on the edge moving into the
You're thinking
the door.
they're in like that B.
Yeah.
Almost.
The
fringe
door's
over
almost
B.
open.
Yes.
Then you go to the NFC. I think the NFC is jam-packed. Philly.
I have Philly.
I'm not 100% sold on Dallas yet.
I don't have Dallas in it.
They're like the Ravens.
I
They're on
don't.
this.
You know what they're going to do?
They're going to choke.
Prescott's going to go back in there, and they're going to go back to being that mediocre.
I agree there. The Vikings?
No.
No?
No. I like Kirk Cousins. I'm a Kirk Cousins guy. I thought Washington made the wrong move years ago. But no. Vikings always find a way to choke.
I don't see Green Bay.
But I do have the Vikings winning that division.
Yes, I see Green Bay being a wild card if at best. Tampa Bay once they get fully healthy.
Yes, that's 2 out of my 3.
I don't have anybody in the West, to be honest.
49ers.
Yeah, they're
Defense is loaded. Offense is humming. Jimmy G's playing well.
Jimmy G is playing well.
You can't ask for much more.
No, Jimmy
As
G
long
is
as
playing
you're
well.
able to run the football with them and play stifling defense the way they like to, they're a contender.
If you talk about like an underachiever like for the NFL,
Rams.
the Rams.
And you know what? That
It's
Cincinnati,
sad.
but this is the first time in a long time both teams have had that Super Bowl hangover.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hitting them hard.
I see the Rams bouncing back, but making the playoffs maybe.
I don't even have them in.
Do we have that on the list today?
Yes, playoff
Okay,
picks,
yeah, okay.
mid-season playoff picks.
All right, let's just jump right into that.
All right, let's go AFC first.
Okay, we're working our way down 1
Do
through
you want
7.
to work your way down or do you want to work your way backwards from 7 to 1?
Let's work our way down.
Okay.
Number 1, Buffalo,
I have the Buffalo Bills.
100%.
I think this game, Sunday afternoon at 4:30, is going to contradict a lot of things. I think the Bills do win.
It's hard.
I do. But
Because
if
at Kansas
this is the last year in the playoffs, the last year when they played them in the regular season, this is the team to beat them. And I think they beat them last regular season and beat them bad too.
They did.
This is
This is the team they can win.
This is the team you can do it with.
I agree.
This is the new Pittsburgh, New England thing.
Mhm.
If Buffalo loses tomorrow afternoon, it's the Pittsburgh, New England thing. It's the mental thing.
Yeah.
They can't beat them. They can't
Right.
figure out a way to beat them.
Right.
Even though they have the clearly better team.
Yep.
But, I mean, they're playing at Arrowhead. That could make a difference.
Yep.
But Bills number 1.
I got Bills 1, Chiefs 2.
I have Kansas City as a close 2. Like I said, this game tomorrow is going to have a lot of weight in the playoff bowl.
Correct. 3, I got Baltimore.
I got the Ravens at number 3 as well. Lamar Jackson's playing better than he did his MVP season.
Unfortunately, I have Tennessee at 4.
I still have Tennessee.
They're the weakest for the 4. The champions.
I think we really talked. We were really hoping Indianapolis was going to be that team this year, or even Jacksonville. And both those teams are still okay. Jacksonville's still very young and they're finding themselves. Trevor Lawrence is playing phenomenal this year so far.
Indy's, they're underachieving in my opinion.
They're
not playing well defensively.
Matt Ryan sucks. I'm just going to say he sucks.
All right, so what do you got at number 5?
5, I have the Los Angeles Chargers.
That's what I have. I have the Chargers at 5. I have a surprise coming.
I have Miami at 6.
I have Miami at 6 as well.
And number 7, I have Cincinnati still.
I don't.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, here it comes.
Absolutely not. Can I be honest with you?
Let me think.
7 is a toss-up for me. There are a lot of teams that do not deserve to be that spot. This is the year that I think the 6 are here, the 7th's here.
I think it has been like that since they started, which is why I think the extra wild card team is stupid. But I'm thinking you're going to New York Jets.
I'm going to New York Jets. They're playing well defensively right now. They have a 2-headed monster running back.
Mm-hmm. They do. I
looked on this.
I had Cincinnati, the Jets, and I also had. I even hate to say this.
I know.
They play so bad. Denver, all there.
I have Cleveland in that conversation too.
I think Deshaun Watson gets back and they lay an egg. I don't think he will be what he once was.
No, that's what's hard. Like I just don't see that 7th team as somebody like. I could throw New York into that question. I could throw Cleveland and Cincinnati into that. I could throw Jacksonville into it. And throw Denver. Those 5 teams fighting for that 7th spot. Something's going wrong in Denver, and I don't understand it.
They don't have a head coach.
I don't think he can.
Everyone thought last year, and I said it, and I don't think we were on the same page. They were not a quarterback away.
No.
Their offensive line is mid pack. You can work with it. Guys like Peyton Manning have worked in the middle of the pack offensive line. Ben Roethlisberger did it for a long time. They don't have a great running back. Javonte Williams just got hurt. He was okay. Now they have Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray.
They were an average offense, and they are continuing to
Cortland
be
Sutton is okay. Jerry Jeudy is overrated. KJ Hamler, I think, could be their best receiver, but he doesn't get to play.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a star tight end. The defense...
Oh, they do. He's in Seattle now.
Yeah, well, that was part of that Wilson deal, which I think was stupid. But, I mean, the defense isn't as good as what it was with, Miller and Marcus Ware and everybody.
I don't understand.
But it's serviceable enough to win you games.
I don't understand how they can't score points. I mean, 16, 16, 11, 12, 9. They scored 23 against the Raiders. That was it.
They beat the Raiders.
No, they lost the Raiders.
Oh,
they lost 32-23. Pitiful. All right, what do you got in the NFC? Number 1.
Number 1, I have Philadelphia.
So do I. They're playing.
They are overachieving, I think, a little bit to
yes.
everyone's expectations.
I got them at 1.
I thought they'd be a good team, not like this.
2.
I have the 49ers.
Okay. I had Tampa Bay.
I wanted to put Tampa Bay, but I'm thinking everyone that's hurt's coming back a little later.
I agree. It's going to be hard to see.
And it's going to come down to hairs separating these teams.
So I just flip flop. I have then 49ers at 3. I'm guessing you have Tampa Bay.
I have Tampa at 3.
And then Minnesota at 4.
I have the Vikings at 4. Yes.
Okay. Who do you got at 5?
I have the Cowboys at 5. I think that division. I think it's going to be Eagles 12-5, Cowboys 11-6.
Okay.
Or 10-7. It's like a game or two apart. It's going to be close.
Who do you got? So my number 5. I think Green Bay will slide into 5. They'll play Minnesota first round. I think Minnesota wins that game.
I have Green Bay at 6.
So I have like you said, I don't see Dallas pulling it out. I mean, you look at they're 4-1 right now, right? So you got Philly this week. They're going to lose on Sunday Night Football.
Mm.
Then they have Lions and Bears back to back, so that's 2 wins. So now we're up to 6-2. They go on the road to the Packers in November. It might be snowing. They're going to lose that game.
Probably
6-3. They go and play the Vikings at the Vikings, 6-4. And they play the Cowboys. They play the Cowboys. And they play the Giants. I can see them dropping that game too. I can see them losing 3 in a row.
That's the Thanksgiving game?
That's a Thanksgiving game. Now their back half of the schedule's not bad. Colts, Texans, Jaguars, Philly, Titans, Commanders. I have the Giants. What are we on? We're on 5, right?
We're
on
5 and
6.
6.
I have the Giants at 6. And then it's toss up for 7. I could see LA pulling it out. I could see Dallas getting in. That's about it. Those 2. I see there's 8 there instead of over in the AFC. I had 12. I could see there was 8 teams.
So I have Green Bay sliding in at 6. I don't think they have the firepower on offense anymore.
They don't.
Aaron Rodgers came out and said it. Well, I can't remember who they beat.
He should have.
And it was close. And he said this way winning is not sustainable, and it's not. He's used to beating teams and the game being over at halftime and then padding his stats. That's all he's worried about. He's not in it to win it.
No.
He's in it for the money and for his own stats.
Mm-hmm.
And at number 7, I have the New York Football Giants.
They're getting in, baby. They're getting in.
They have to.
Yep.
I mean, I don't like the Rams. I think they're underachieving majorly. I mean, Arizona you could throw in there, I guess. I think they're underachieving.
Uh-huh.
I think the league's pretty much figuring out Kyler Murray and what they had to do to beat him.
He's like Lamar, but he's worse.
So you have Giants in 7 too.
I have the Giants at 6. I have the Cowboys at 7.
You have the Cowboys at 7.
Yeah. I don't know. I just
Super Bowl 57 picks.
eastern side of the country. Philly versus Buffalo.
You have Philly versus Buffalo.
I think they do it.
I have Kansas City over the Eagles.
I can't pick one yet. It's hard for me. I could see Philly beating Buffalo.
I mean, everyone's still, Kansas City is better without Tyreek Hill. They are.
They are.
And
I
Tyreek
can
Hill's
agree to
still, playing phenomenal down in Miami. But
I also think, though, the reason why Kansas City's still doing okay without Tyreek is because of Juju. You don't get Juju, I don't see the offense.
I mean, they hired, what was that, Scantling? Valdez Scantling. Is that it? Who they signed?
Yeah.
It was one of the Green Bay receivers. They signed him and Juju. They draft Sky Moore.
Right.
Travis Kelce, still Travis Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon. And you know what? Let's not forget, their defense is playing at a Super Bowl level. They have since week 1 this year. They're
It's hard.
playing good right now.
I think the 1-2 in the AFC is stronger than the 1-2 in the NFC.
Absolutely. The AFC is going to win the Super Bowl this year. There's not a doubt about it. The NFC's won the past 2 or 3. I think the past 2.
Right.
Tampa and Rams. But, we'll see. We still have more than half a season to play
It's a lot of
in
football.
the NFL.
All right, so Deshaun, I don't even care about him anymore. Like, just go.
I forgot to add that to my thing. I sent it to you. I added it to yours. Deshaun Watson faces another civil lawsuit. If I'm the NFL, I'm on the phone with him right now saying, hey, you know what? This is what we agreed to. It's changing to this. It's the whole season. You know what? We already had enough of a black eye because of you, and we don't want any more of it.
Right.
But, I don't get paid the big dollars to make those decisions.
No.
So, now it's time for our favorite topic.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
The state of the Steelers.
Can I tell you right now, and I've gotten into controversial topics about this, I think Kenny Pickett's a great quarterback. I think he's going to do well. I think it was the worst draft pick they made. Here's why. You knew last year that this team was struggling. You knew this team needed offensive linemen. This team needed some help. The issue is not the personnel. The issue is the person behind the clipboard. And the issue is the person that's leading the charge. Mike needs to go. Mike can go somewhere else. There's a time and a place where a certain coach has overstayed his welcome. Bill Belichick is getting to that point in New England. Mike Tomlin's at that point in Pittsburgh.
There's times where things just get stale in your mouth.
And that's what this is.
And I've said it I say it with James Franklin. I say it with Jim Harbaugh in Michigan.
Yep.
I'm starting to say it with Mike Tomlin.
100%.
And I was arguing with somebody the other day. I'm going to name every first round pick Mike Tomlin has made.
Okay, I saw this on I saw a chart on Facebook, so we're gonna talk about this.
So I'm gonna say either check or X.
Okay.
The checks are the ones I think he hit on. The X's are the ones he missed on.
There's more to this conversation, but we'll go ahead.
Timmons, check. Great linebacker.
Yes.
Played phenomenally for 10 years.
Yes.
Mendenhall, big fat X.
Correct.
Bad pick.
Yep.
Ziggy Hood,
Horrible pick.
bad pick. He hits on 3 in a row. Pouncey, he hit on.
100%.
Probably one of
Best
the best center in Steelers history.
Best
Whoa.
pick I think they made.
Hayward,
Hit on.
hit. Major hit. DeCastro, another major hit.
Yes.
Played phenomenal. One of the best guards in Steelers history. Jarvis Jones,
Bust.
miss.
Yep.
Huge miss.
I thought he had it at first, but he never came.
This next one's controversial. I'm going to say he hit, but a lot of people say it was a miss because they knew he was undersized. Ryan Shazier.
I think it was a hit.
I'm going to say it was a hit because I'm a Ryan Shazier fan.
And what he could do on the field.
I was this close to buying that jersey, and something told me not to. And
I have one.
Like 2 years later.
I have a white one.
Bud Dupree. Miss.
Yep. He only played well the season he was playing for money, and that was it.
He played a good season and a half. Got hurt that game. Blew out his knee. Priced himself out of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Artie Burns. Miss.
Yep.
T.J. Watt.
Slam dunk.
Hit. Terrell Edmonds. Hit.
Mm-hmm.
Or miss. Miss. It's a miss. Sorry.
It's in between for me.
For me, it's a miss. He's playing on a 1-year deal right now. If he was that much of a hit, he'd have a 3 or 4 year contract. Sorry. Terrell Edmonds for me is a miss. A major miss. Devin Bush. Miss. Najee Harris. I'm saying hit.
Hopefully. I think he's going through a sophomore slump.
The offensive line last year was a hell of a lot better than what it is now.
Which I'm really shocked by that, to be honest. I thought we made improvements this year.
I mean, last year was a hell of a lot better. He's playing with a foot injury this year.
Yeah, he's like,
I mean, last year he rushed for 1,200 yards and a handful of touchdowns, and he had a lot of receiving yards too. And Kenny Pickett, the jury's not out on him yet. That's why I think they're rolling with Kenny Pickett these next 12 games. I think there was an inner meeting between ownership, GM, with Mike Tomlin saying, like, hey, we're finding out what we have in this guy right now, because if he's not the guy we don't think he's going to be with these next, dozen games or so, we're drafting another quarterback. Teams aren't afraid to do that anymore.
Right.
Think of Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen's career got ruined. He could be a franchise quarterback right now.
So here's the question. So one of my buddies, Jim Smith, I don't know where he got this, but he posted this spreadsheet, okay? And he says they stink because they don't know how to draft or judge talent. This is a 5-year window from 2015 to 2019. This does not include 2020 and 2021's drafting. Okay. The following players of this group are no longer on the roster. Bud Dupree,
yes.
Golson, Coates, Grant, James, Walton, Chickalo, Holloman. The entire 2015 draft class gone. 2016, Burns, Davis, Hargraves, Hawkins, Feeney, Ayers, Matakevich. 16, gone. 2017, only 2 players remain for the 2017 draft class. Watt and Sutton. Smith-Schuster, gone. Connor, gone. Dobbs, gone. Allen, gone. Holba, gone. Adams, gone. Now, the 2017 draft class is probably one of the best draft classes they had. There's no reason to let Juju go. I think that's how they created that problem.
Here's my thing, and I think it was the right move to let him go.
Because of what they did afterwards.
You paid Johnson,
right?
Omar Khan, yes, got that deal done. Good. I'm not a huge Deontay Johnson fan, but with the trio of receivers you have, it's a good signing.
But my frustration was, why did you draft Claypool?
We're gonna get into that here in a minute.
So let's keep going on this list. Ready? 2018, Edmonds still here. Rudolph, going to be on the door. Okafor, great pick. Marcus Allen. The other 3 are gone. James Washington, Jalen Samuels, and just Jay Frazier. 2019, Bush, Johnson, Justin Lane, gone. Benny Snell, Zach Gentry. Then Smith, Buggs, Gilbert, and Gray, gone. They're not keeping talent, and they're not retaining talent. They're not developing them. They're not finding the right talent.
Here's my thing, and I've said this. I started saying this last week, and I don't think I said it to you. The past 2 or 3 years, you're not including, obviously, the beginning of this year, Roethlisberger had too much pull and say about what happened.
Yep.
They kept all those offensive linemen around too long.
Mm-hmm.
They all got long in the tooth together. They were all around the same age.
And they all went together.
DeCastro, Ramon Foster.
Right.
Villanueva.
Right.
You need to replace guys one at a time. Otherwise, you're going to start getting in holes like you are now.
Uh-huh.
And this could be an ugly 2-3 year stretch.
It's going to be bad.
It could be very, very bad.
And this is what I want to talk about with the Kenny Pickett thing, and then we'll wrap the Steelers talk because I don't want to be on here too long today. Kenny Pickett will be a nice quarterback for us, hopefully.
I think he's the guy.
I think it was the wrong pick. Here's why. And this is where the issue is for me in the front office and for Mike Tomlin. Why are you even entertaining that pick when you signed Mitch Trubisky? Like, why are you even thinking about it? I know half the reason was
after they
because
signed him, I think there was a conversation saying, hey, this is our guy. If he's there, we're taking him. I think there was a mutual decision in that. I think they told that before they even signed him.
See, I think a lot of it was Dwayne Haskins dying.
That too. I mean, that has a lot.
But put some more pieces around Mitch. Mitch wasn't the problem. If you take that first round draft pick and you draft somebody like an offensive lineman, like somebody in the defense, in the secondary, to help the team out. The team still struggles. You have a top 10 pick this year. You got Bryce Young. You got C.J. Stroud. You got all these quarterbacks that are, I think, you have a lot of better quarterback class than next year. And I said that when they pick it. They're going to regret that pick.
Well, we're going to see. Time's only going to tell these next few years. I think a lot of it was the Rooney saying, hey, we made this mistake with Marino all those years ago. I don't want to make it again.
And I understand that point.
I mean, we're talking they draft Marino. They're winning at least one or two more Super Bowls.
I just think they need to think about what's going to happen next. And I wonder is it the whole financial situation that we're still digging out from Ben. They put all that money into him, and they said that even though he was retiring this year, we weren't getting the full cap. The following year, we would.
Mm-hmm.
Like, will they spend it next year?
I think they will.
I think they will if we give them a new coach.
I think...
I don't think anybody wants to come here to play Tomlin.
No, from what a lot of players do want to play for, but they say he's a player's coach. But here's the Steelers don't hire a coach.
No.
The Steelers hire a pope.
Yep.
And when that pope says it's time for me to step down, he will make that decision. Not the Rooneys, not Omar Khan, not the players, not the fans. Mike Tomlin will make the decision when it's time for him to walk away.
Yep.
And here's something to know. Mike Tomlin's son plays for Maryland.
Mike Tomlin's daughter is going to go to Georgia to be a gymnastics kid now.
Mike Tomlin is going to make sure his son gets on the Steelers practice squad, and he will call it quits.
Think?
Yes.
What year is he in?
I think he's a junior or sophomore.
See, I couldn't remember.
I think he's a junior, if I remember correctly. But no, and as for Mitch Trubisky, when you're a guy and you have 3 chances, well, technically you only had 2, but you played.
Correct.
He's
on 3 rosters.
You played in Chicago. You had an outstanding defense.
Mm-hmm.
Should have won a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if they had a number 1 receiver, they might have went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
You're booed out of Chicago. You go back up Josh Allen for a year. You'll learn a lot. Everything you bring in, and you Sean McDermott, and you learn. You sign in Pittsburgh. They tell you this is the circumstance. We're not trying to have a gap like we had before between franchise guys. He's going out there, and I think he's playing scared. He knows this is it.
Well, and he knew that Kenny was sitting on his shoulder.
Kenny's sitting on the bench. They still have a guy they almost somewhat believe in Mason Rudolph at home in sweatpants. I think with Trubisky, he's guaranteed $15 million. He's going to play for the Steelers for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Unless for some reason someone loses a quarterback and they want him right now.
Right.
But you're going to get that contract. You're going to get that $15 million over 2 years or whatever it is. You're going to get your pension and you're probably going to retire.
Here's where I would like to think about this. And this is an off-topic thing, and we'll close it up and do quick picks. Look at all the successful teams in the NFL right now. And I said this last year. and look who's leading the coaching staffs, and look what their focus is. Buffalo, offense.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, offense.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia, offense. The Rams, offense. Last year, the Bengals, offense. Name me a defensive-minded head coach that's succeeding right now.
Right now, whew, none that come to mind.
Right?
I mean, you could say Todd Bowles. Tampa Bay's defense is still outstanding.
But the reason why is Tom Brady's running that offense. True.
Oh, I mean, yes.
And Byron Leftwich is the next head coach in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That's the issue. They don't have an offensive-minded head coach that can influence the coordinator.
Well, here is some point I made to somebody at work. The Steelers have hired one high-profile offensive coordinator.
Bruce Arians.
No. Like, from the outside.
Okay.
Todd Haley.
Yeah.
That offense hummed. They were going up and down the field. I mean, they were the whole time he was here.
Yeah, they
were still scoring points.
Right.
I mean, you got good players. You had AB, Martavis Bryant, Marcus Wheaton, D'Angelo Williams, Heath Miller still. That offense was humming. Just because your quarterback doesn't get along with them personally doesn't mean you can't work together.
You know, it would be kind of cool, and like you said, it's the hope aspect. I could see them, if they would get Tomlin out this year, I think it would be really cool to have Byron Leftwich come back. Former player of the Steelers. That storyline's there.
Yes.
They need an offensive-minded coach. I mean, I get the whole Steeler mentality, the steel curtain. Two last coaches, they did well at the start. Defensive-minded coach, defensive-minded coach.
I mean, do you really want to say Mike Tomlin did well? He won a Super Bowl with all Bill Cowher's drafts.
I agree.
He had one draft and won a Super Bowl with Cowher's players.
He needs to go. Let's go ahead and quick pick so we can wrap this up at about the hour 15 mark. Ish. All right. San Francisco, Atlanta, what do you got?
49ers. I like the 49ers big.
So do I. New England, Cleveland.
This is a tough one to call. I don't think Mac Jones is still playing. I'm going to go Browns.
I have Browns as well. Green Bay, New York.
Jets.
Jets, Jets, baby. It's hard. That was tough for me. Indy, Jacksonville.
This is one of those games. It's a division game. I'm going to go Saxonville. I like Trevor Lawrence.
I'm going to take Indy because they're at home. It gives them a little bit of advantage. Minnesota at Miami.
This is going to be an interesting game to call. Tua's still not playing. Who knows about Teddy Bridgewater? Give me the Vikings in a close one.
I gave the Vikings as well. Cincy, New Orleans.
I'm actually going to go Bengals here.
So am I.
I mean, Andy Dalton's playing his former team, basically the team that gave up on him as a franchise quarterback. Give me the Bengals.
Baltimore, the Giants.
This is going to be interesting. We're actually going to see where the New York Giants are actually at in this game.
Yep.
I think Baltimore is a little too much for them to handle. Give me the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Giants in a close one. Tampa Bay and your Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hell. Tampa Bay by 30.
I think the Steelers cover, but Tampa Bay still wins.
No, I'm gonna take Tampa like 28-10.
The only saving grace is Tampa's not healthy, but either are we, so that's a problem. Carolina, LA, like Los Angeles Chargers. Yeah, no, Rams.
Rams and Panthers.
No, that is. Yeah, that's Rams and Panthers, sorry.
Rams and Panthers.
Hard
Give
to
me the
say.
Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams as well.
Panthers aren't that good.
Nope. Seattle, Arizona. At Seattle.
Give me Arizona.
I'm going to take Seattle. I kind of like what Pete Carroll's doing right now. Buffalo, Kansas City.
I'm going to take Kansas City.
Okay? Because they're playing at home.
I'm already at that point
like you said
where I
earlier.
think it's the mental thing.
I'm going to take Buffalo. I have a feeling.
I'm pulling for the Bills to win the Super Bowl this year, even though I picked Kansas City to go.
Yeah.
But I think it's the mental thing still.
Dallas, Philly.
Give me Philadelphia in a close one.
I think
Defensive
think
scrum.
Philly blows them out.
I think it's a defensive scrum. Like one of those
Yeah.
21-17 type of games.
I could see
Eagles.
that. Denver at the Chargers.
Not even a close one. Chargers.
Maybe different. Russell Wilson finally gets it together. Denver. All right, so that's all for us for the weekly show here at Limitless Sports. We're going to be back next week. Hopefully, as long as we can do Sunday. Is that okay with you?
Yes, Sunday will work for me because I'm going to the Whiteout game next weekend.
That's what I thought. That's what I figured. So,
Yeah, so we'll be leaving early in the afternoon.
we'll talk about that more later. But all right, and we'll be back with some more college topics and some more
Recap all the big games.
recaps, big games, and I'll talk to a little bit about my softball experience. I'm playing 3 games today, 2 games tomorrow, and
Yes, you are.
getting back to Peters Township on Tuesday. So
I know. I got to get ready and go to the hockey game after the Penn State game today. So
there you go.
I'm
All
going to
right,
enjoy the Penguins and the Lightning tonight.
for Brennan, for Dave, we hope you enjoyed our getting back to it, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good weekend, Dave.